guys, and welcome back to my channel. Satish, Gaire here from Dallas, Texas. Now today we'll be learning about how to craft your webinar so you have the maximum sales, signups, whatever your goal is. We will make sure that you get the most out of it. Okay, now just for background, I've been doing webinars for past 7 years, and I've learned so many things. Okay, I'll be honest with you, right? When I started out, I sucked. Now here's the thing. I was mentored and I learned from all these things, and at this point I can do a webinar without even trying these days. But there is a formula. That my brain created, and I want to share that with you guys today. So you guys are going to get two things today out of this video. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a checklist. This is especially very important if this is your first webinar or if you're new to webinar, because this is going to go over a lot of things. Let me show it to you on the computer right here as well. So webinar checklist, we're going to go over that. Now second stuff, this is where the meat is. Now this second part, I'm going to teach you exactly what you need to do on your webinar, like how to deliver your webinar so you get the maximum results out of it. Okay, so that's my promise to you, and let's begin. Now first of all, now the webinar checklist, let's take a look at it together. So webinar checklist, this is pretty much what you need to be, what you should do before you actually start the webinar, like actually you're live. Before that, what you should be doing. Okay, now if you haven't seen my last webinar, my last video on how to get the maximum attendees or signups for your webinar, you should watch it. Okay, you should. Now once you've done that, let's go ahead and take a look at the checklist. Now first of all, so we have something called pre-webinar. Now pre-webinar, number one, make sure to choose a time, date, and topic. Okay, whatever you're selling, promoting. Okay, make sure to allow at least a couple of days so you have time to promote your webinar as well. Now make sure to send plenty of reminder emails, SMS, so people actually attend your webinar. Now keep in mind, these reminder emails and SMS, they shouldn't just be like, hey, there's a webinar. They should be about, hey, what can they expect on the actual webinar? Maybe give out a trailer. Here's what I do. So what I do is, let's say I'm doing a webinar on leads, right? I give away one of my best part that's on the webinar for free, and I tell people, hey, this is just a taste. So if you want more of it, you gotta attend the webinar. That's the way to get it all. So I tell people that. Now, next up, goal. So you gotta have a goal. Okay, so sometimes my goal is to make money. So when I get on the webinar, my end result should be money in the bank, money on my Stripe account. So that's my goal. So my mentality is all around money. Okay, keep that in mind. Number two, now sometimes you might be looking for consultation like leads or things like that. Make sure you define your goal ahead of time, because sometimes if you have multi goals, your webinar might not convert too well, and you don't want to confuse people. Okay, so let's move on. Slides. A lot of people, okay, here's the thing, don't create a slide where it's like paragraphs. Usually I put one or two words, pictures maybe, and I talk. Okay, do not, I repeat, do not try to memorize or have a flashcard. That's the dumbest thing anybody can do, and people will just know that when they watch your webinar. Oh, this guy's not even a professional. They'll know that. Now, how do you get out of that? Now, here's what you do. Okay, so what you do is, of course, you're gonna write down what you're gonna plan on the webinar, but you say things like you would as a normal human being. You don't need to have it 1, 2. Okay, don't do that. Okay, just talk normally. If you make mistake, you make mistakes. Okay, I make mistakes sometimes too. Sometimes I make mistakes knowingly that I'm making a mistake. Why? Because I want that human connection. Now, at this point, right, at this point in my life, I can do a webinar like this. So usually, right, I'm just sitting around, I can do it like this. Guys, welcome back to the webinar today. We're gonna go ahead and get started today. I can talk like that while closing my eyes and get the webinar right. I can do that once you get used to it, you can. Now, but initially when you're starting out, right, you need to plan it, but don't memorize it. Say it the way you would, like, hey, what's going on? You have to show that human factor these days. Okay, you have to be relatable. You have to show your flaws. Okay, so I don't have, doing webinars, I don't have any flaws, I know that. But I show flaws sometimes knowingly, or I just don't try too hard, because that way I'm a better, there's a human factor. Keep that in mind, okay? Next up, webinar length. A lot of people, if you do a webinar for like 4 hours, God bless you, okay? You can, but I've done webinar as short as 20 minutes, as long as like 4 to 5 hours. I'll tell you this, the conversion rate is much, much lower as you go across 45 minutes. I'll tell you that, okay? So if it's a live webinar, if you can keep people entertained, don't cross an hour and a half, okay? Now, if it's a replay, okay, be very, very careful. If you're gonna do a replay, make sure it's short, concise, enough information to take the action, but don't go too overboard, okay? You got it? Let's move on. Now, next up, this is very important, objection QA. What is objection QA? So during the webinar, there will be a part where you're gonna say, hey, this guy from Dallas, his name is Bill, he's asking, why is our product priced so high? Why are we not offering this? So objection QAs are questions that you need to create ahead of time. So on the live webinar, before people say, why is the price too high? Why is this? Before they come up with objections, you need to handle it, okay? And the way to do that is with a QA session, okay? You'll be able to do a real QA too, but you have to add this factor on there. So that way you can answer people's objections before they even have it, okay? Keep that in mind, okay? And let's move on. Now, last but not least, okay? Make sure to check your connection of your internet. I usually go to fast.com. I might be slow today, but fast.com, it usually helps. But go to fast.com and make sure your speed is pretty good, okay? If it's running on like 1 Mbps, you need to call your internet provider. So make sure you're pretty good. I'm at home right now, so it's decent, right? About 200, that's pretty good. If I'm at the office, it's about a gig, so I'm even best. So make sure your connection, because you don't want to, you want to reduce that lag time, and you also want to avoid those disconnect, because you're doing a great presentation and at the middle of it you're like, people can't hear you. That sucks. People are gonna leave out of that webinar thinking, bro, this guy didn't even prepare properly. So make sure to check your connection. And secondly, a lot of people don't do this, but restart your computer, because your computer is running all these other softwares, right? So I restarted, I shut down everything, Skype, Word, everything. The only thing that I had turned on is my browser, okay? And of course, my webinar platform, I use GoToWebinar, I do that. And I also have like notes and stuff if I need to. Minimum stuff, okay? Keep that in mind, okay? So let's move on. So that's your pre-webinar checklist. Now, I want you to download this. This should be on the description somewhere, right? So make sure to download it and go through it. So it looks like this, okay? You're gonna go to checklist, boom, 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 boom. If you do it a couple times, you'll be good, okay? Now, next up. So next up is the actual webinar, okay? So this is the actual webinar formula, okay? This is what we're gonna do. This is the meat. This is the best part. Once you get used to this, I'm telling you, it works for like, every industry, okay? Now, there are other formulas out there that people are using, but I've seen, okay, the problem with those is that they're not bad. They're pretty good. But the problem with those is that they are too hyped up, meaning, people overuse it. So my first advice is, when I present this to you, okay, do not try to implement everything that you see here. People are not dumb, okay? They will figure it out, okay? So make sure to use only what's necessary. I'll tell you which ones they are, okay? But, use it, don't overuse it, okay? So let's go. So this is the actual formula. Let's go over it right now. So now let's start from the beginning. So on the top, I have PE. Now, what is PE? So the idea is I'm gonna go through this on the video, and you're gonna download this, print it out. I want you to print it out, because if you have a PDF, you're gonna forget about it. Print it out, real paper, put it on your desk, and go over it. Next time you go over it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about because you know these things, okay? So let's go over. So PE, so what is PE? PE is pre-email. So this is what I call, make sure to send out those, trailer, like, let's say we're doing a webinar on, leads or, life insurance. Give out that one small thing, one small bit of information that you're about to give away on the webinar. Okay, so for example, we talked about this on my other video if you haven't seen it. So one of the things we talked about is naming your webinar. Okay, usually on the webinar you're going to put five never ever seen ways to generate leads, right? So make sure maybe give out one or maybe a little bit. That's your trailer. Okay, a little bit of extra information that's going to be on your pre-email, and you want to tell people, hey, if you want more, make sure to attend the actual webinar on this date, time. We're never going to have the replay. Initially, you want to tell people that there is no replay because the fact that, here's the thing, when it's live, it's better because there's a human being talking to live from Dallas, Texas, and somebody up there in New York is listening to me, right? That's a human connection, and it doesn't get better. And those replays, the simulated replays, people can tell if it's real or like live or not. So try to get people on a live webinar if possible. Now, of course, there are benefits of having an auto webinar. I get it. That's a different topic, but try to get people live on the session if possible. Okay. So PE means pre-emails. Okay. Now you got that PE. So when you see PE, pre-emails, trailer, quick information. Now, next up is PW, PW15. PW15 means pre-webinar 15 minutes. Now, here's the deal. This is really cool. This is what I do on my every single webinar. So let's say the webinar is set at 6 o'clock in the evening, right? So what I do is I get on the webinar at 5:45, 15 minutes early. I get on it. A lot of webinar hosts, they are like, oh, I'm such a cool guy. I'm gonna get on at 6 o'clock time. But here's the thing, I'll tell you that. You have to level with people. Okay? You're trying to get their money, you're trying to get them as a customer, you're trying to get them to do something, right? Now, like I said, you have to get in level with people. And to do that, the human factor plays along. So pre-webinar 15 means you get on the webinar 15 minutes early and you have a chat. It's not formal. Like, so, hey, what's up? What's going on, guys? Just got up here. I just did my different webinar. I just had my lunch. I had, sandwich, blah, blah, blah. You talk. This is called building that talk, warming up people up. Okay. I do that. I play a game. I give away like money, like $50, $100, random, guess a number, right? I do that. The reason I do that is because next time these same people, remember, keep in mind, your repeat customers revenue is like 70-80% versus your new customers. So make sure these customers know, I gotta attend Satish webinar on time. Not just time, 15 minutes early, because he's giving out money, he's giving out stuff. So make sure to have this PW 15 minutes. So it's a pre-webinar 15 minutes ahead of time. You get on, you talk about things, blah, blah, blah. It's a casual conversation before a conference or meeting starts. You do this, right? So let's say you have to go to a conference, right? Before the whole show starts, how people are making small talk? This is the part. This is very important, okay? Please do it, okay? Now, next up, intro. Now, intro. This is, you guys know this. So number one, big claim. So what is your big claim? Your big claim could be, in this webinar, I'm going to show you 15 never ever seen ways to make money from home. In this webinar, I'm going to show you how you can raise your revenue by almost 30% with this, what I'm about to teach you right now. So that's a big claim, okay? Keep in mind, if you make a claim, make sure to give that, whatever the information is, okay? Give that away. That information should not be up for sale. The reason why, okay? When you promise people something, and if you don't give it to them, they will remember it till the day they die. So give it to them, okay? The idea is to make money somewhere else. I'll show you that. Now, next up, so credibility, okay? When you get on the webinar, you got to show people who you are, okay? So don't be scared to brag it off, okay? What I do, I've written a couple books, I mean, I've done it. Okay, it's not fake. So I show people, hey, I've done this book. If it's a similar topic that I do, I show people my social media profiles. So, I might get here, my social media profile right here. I do this sometimes. My computer is loading a little slow here, but you get the idea. So I get here, right? I show people that, and I show people, that, hey, this guy is serious, okay? You got to show people that, hey, whatever you say, are you behind it? So credibility, okay? Credibility. Now, it's even better if somebody else can vouch for you. So what I sometimes even do is I get somebody else on the webinar who might be a known person in that industry. I'll let them vouch for me. I do that too. Okay, so that helps. Credibility is the biggest thing. Okay, build your credibility, your reputation, because if you don't have that, it's going to be hard for you to demand higher fees, get people to do whatever you're trying to get them to do. Now you're thinking, I don't have any credibility, how do I build that? Now that's a different topic, but things like results, like I said, bring people over, bring customers over. I'll show you that. Okay, so bring testimonial, those things. So, but make sure there is some credibility. There is something that you can show people which says, hey, this guy's a real deal. Now you can't do this on YouTube and stuff. I won't do it, but on a live webinar, maybe open up your your whatever you're claiming. You can show that to people to say, hey, I am serious about this. Okay, now let's move on. Number 3, till in. You have to give people a reason to stay till the end. It can be through promising, hey, if you stay till the end, I'm going to be giving you this. I'm going to be giving you a software. I'm going to be giving you this. You get the idea. Make sure to hook them till the end. Okay. Now, 4. Okay, you got to show people what their life will be at the end of this webinar. At the end of this webinar, you right there, at the end of this video right there, you're going to be a better webinar host. I promise you that. Okay. See, you have to show people. After you become a better webinar host, you can get more signups. I'm doing it with you. You get the idea. You'll make more money, blah, blah, blah. You can say those things, okay? So make sure to let people go through that mindset. Hey, after this webinar, I'm going to be making money. I'm going to be getting leads. I'm going to be happier. I'm going to be motivated. You know the deal, right? Let's move on. So that's the intro. So I want you to be able to look at this and go, big claim, credibility, boom, boom, boom. Make sure to put that on every webinar intro, okay? Next up, content. This is the meat. Now, so number 1, you gotta straight up tell people what the problem or issue that you're resolving. So, example, right? So as a business owner, all of us, we know that leads is the blood and sweat of your business, right? So, if you don't have leads, your business is fake. See, you put that problem clearly out there, okay? Cool. Now, number 2, give I call it X content. This is what people came here for. Give the X content. This is the main thing. This is the takeaway. This is the reason. If you don't give this away, this is your big claim. If you don't give this away, people are not going to come back to you again. Okay, let's be honest. Okay, they might not. So people right now, they might not buy your product, but if you don't give this, they're never ever coming back. Make sure to give this away. So this is the meat. Those 10 ways. Make sure to give those away on this session. Okay. Now let's move on. Now number 3, smooth pitch. Now, when you give this information, you want to transition to a pitch. Okay. Now remember, pitch, it shouldn't be harsh. It should be smooth. Hey bro, what's going on? So after these things, I came up with a really cool way to generate leads. So let's pretend I'm selling a software, right? So those are 5 ways to build lists and your leads. But I came up with this really cool way where you can build leads like automatically without you even lifting your finger. That's pretty awesome. And the reason I came to that was because I was spending too much time and I hired blah blah blah. This is the part, okay? This is the part a lot of you guys are missing. You have to make that connection by telling a story, okay? And this is the part. It says how and why, okay? You gotta tell people how you came up with this, why you came up with this. Now I put a value by side because a lot of other webinar formulas, they'll tell you, hey, I spent, I did this. They put a picture saying, hey, this is worth $50,000, but I'm giving it to you for 50 bucks. What the hell, bro? People are not dumb. So this speech, how and why, is how you create value. Hey, so I had this problem. So what I did was, I had to hire these developers in Romania, and I went to Romania. Initially, they wanted like $50,000 to build the software. See how I put it, like how much it cost, the value, but in a story. Okay, you can't just slap it on people's face saying, hey, this is how much it costs. What you have to do is slowly, like, this is what happened, You have to tell a story. You have to excite people. People remember stories. People forget everything else. People remember stories, okay? Make sure your story has rags to riches story. So problem, what you had to go through, a revelation. Make sure to do that. I mean, there's a different topic, but I just wanted to cover that, okay? Now, benefits. Make sure to explain to people what is the benefit of your product, your service. What is the benefit? You're like, oh, my software does this. People don't care about your button. They care about the benefit. What is the value? How is it going to impact their time? How is it going to impact their money? There's no other benefit. Let's be honest. Okay, let's think about it. Think about a product. What's the benefit? Saving money, making more money, saving time, speeding up things. See, it's always ends up with time. We don't have a lot of time. Let's be honest, right? Now, how can we use less time and get most out of it? Automation. How can I pay my mortgage? How can I pay for that? How can I pay for that car, the $70K car that I bought a couple years back, right? So you get the idea. It always ends up in time and money. People want to know, what can your product, what can you do for them that's going to solve those two problems, okay? Doesn't matter how rich somebody else is, you want more money. That's the fact. You want to save time. That's with everybody, okay? So keep that in mind. There's no other benefits. There's no other benefits. You're like, oh, it's going to do this button. Oh, so make sure, time and money, okay? Number 5, this is my favorite part, okay? A lot of people, they think, oh, this guy's selling me today. This guy Satish, he thinks he's a really cool webinar host. He's gonna sell me blah blah. He's gonna brainwash me. I am gonna brainwash you, but I'm gonna do it with math. I call it number 5. Show the math. Show the math. So, okay, what I do is, let's say if somebody's gonna save time, I show them. I write it down. Actually, what I usually do is I connect my screen with my iPad. I show people, hey, if this software can save this many times, this is how much extra time you would have. This is how much money you would save. Show the math, okay? Show the math. Let's have some water. 20 minutes of non-stop talking. On the webinar, try doing that. It helps because you're talking, non-stop. Your throat might get, dry, but it's okay to have a glass of water in the middle of the show. It's okay. You're a human being. You're not a robot. Okay? Let's move on. So show the math. Show the math. Show the math. So you better get this, okay? So show the math. Involve math, because that's logic. Math, So the reason I do this is because, okay, when back in college, so I'm a biochemistry student, right? By education, but so when you're doing math versus, like, let's say you're writing an essay, and on an essay, a professor can give you a 99 or 97. On math, if you got that answer, there's no maybe answer. If the answer is 50, it's 50. It cannot be 51, 52. So show the math, okay? Now, you also, number 6, make sure to show a demo or whatever your offer is. You gotta present straight up what the offer is. Hey, the offer is you're gonna get the software. It comes with this. Okay. Now, this part, a lot of people like to devalue their product by offering bullshit bonuses. Hey, you can offer bonuses, but keep in mind, you might get that volume, but it devalues your product, okay? It devalues your product. So I'm not a big fan of offering bonuses. So show your offer, what it is, what are they getting, what are they learning, show the interact. Let's say you're selling a course, right? So let me tell you a story. So one of these guys, you might be watching this. So he came to me, he said, oh, my webinar is not converting. So he was selling how to do affiliate marketing, like, creating blogs. And when he said, he was like, he showed a picture of like video, like he showed a list. I'm like, so that's what you're offering? I said, yeah, I'm offering a video. I said, trim that part and replace it where you show the interactive, you clicking on the button, you clicking on the quizzes. Show people how they will feel when they use your product. Does that make sense? Make sure to do that, okay? Now, number 6, so multi-pricing. If your product service has multi-pricing, make sure there's a lower end, the one that you really want, and the higher end. So why 3 prices? So lower end is for people who are like, oh, maybe I'll try it. Middle one is this is the pricing that you want, the middle one, right? Recommended. And the higher one is people who are like, hey, I got the money, so I'm gonna get the best one, okay? If you get what you pay for, for those people, that's the higher one. So but your goal is to sell the middle one, the recommended plan, which is what you're trying to sell, okay? Keep that in mind. Now, next up, I put this freebie, reciprocal. I don't know how to pronounce it, but you get reciprocal. So pretty much what it means is that you want to give people something, so they feel obliged to, return you the favor, right? So the idea works like this. So here's how I do, okay? So let's say I'm selling a course, just to simplify things. Let's say I'm selling a course, right? What I do is I give away the module 1 or something else off topic for free. I gave you something right now. You gotta do me a favor. You're playing with people's mind. You're gonna then in their mind they're thinking, oh wait, Satish gave me this other software or this something. Give something, okay? Give this something, okay? Now, you didn't, and they're like, oh, it's usually worth $50, but I'm giving it to you. Don't say, a lot of people say, oh, it's worth 50,000. That's stupid. Please, people are not dumb. But stop overusing it. You see, people, oh, 50,000 worth of stuff for 99. Bullshit. Just say, hey, usually I'm selling this, this graph for $15. I want you to have it for free. See how in your mind you're like, this guy is honest. This guy is honest. He's not lying. Get it? Okay. Make sure to do that. So if you do put that in, put it right there, okay? Next up, closing. So closing is when you pretty much asking for the sale. I put call to action, but you're asking for call to action means CTA, means asking for a sale, asking for a sign up, whatever. Calling for action. You gotta do it a couple times, okay? You gotta do it a couple times. So call to action. Hey, so let's go ahead and click on that link and let's get it signed up right now, guys. So it's limited time offer right now. The price goes up tomorrow. Blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. Call to action. Now, number 2 on closing. This is a part where you do QA like this. So if you're like, oh, I'm opening up the floor for QA session. Does anybody have any questions? So you look at the question. It's gonna be a bunch, right? So most of it is like that. So what you do is remember on the checklist we talked about it. We said where is it? Objection QAs. You gotta write these down. So the way you come up with these is every product has its something is not right. You know this. Before you go to bed, you know something is up. Is the price too high? So usually for me, it's like priced way, way, way high. The reason I do that is because I feel like I deserve it because I've done it for 10, 15 years and I deserve it. Now, how do I put it into people's mind? Okay, so here's what I do. So John here from New York says, hi Satish, why is your product, why is it so higher than everybody else? And I say, okay, I get it, guys. It's a higher end pricing, but I'll tell you this, okay? So what I'm offering you with this is, you can get your money back if you don't like it, but the promise here is as long as you follow these things, you're gonna get XYZ. Now keep in mind, guys, that I have consulted for this company, or I've been working on it for this long, or hey, it took me this much money, so I'm barely making any profit, a little bit here, but I'm hoping that a lot of you guys will buy it so I can make the money on the volume. See what I did there? You have to give people reason. Make sure to use the word because I'm pricing it higher because I had to hire a developer, I still have to do this, I have to maintain the code, blah blah. Use the word because. So QA, this is where you break all their objections. Okay, now on a normal call session they're like, oh, I gotta ask my wife about this, right? So just say, hey, Bill from Dallas says, can I buy it tomorrow after asking my wife? You're gonna say, Bill, you can buy it tomorrow, that's fine, but the price will probably be higher because this price right now is for people who are live right now. So keep that in mind. Of course, you can buy it tomorrow. There's no problem. But I would recommend buying it today because, hey, if your wife said, hey, it's a bad choice, hey, you can get a refund. See what I mean? You gotta do those things. Now, next up, number 3 is testimonials and results. You gotta show this to people. So testimonial, I would get people on air and talk about it, show their face and let them talk about it. I would show screenshots and stuff. You can do that as well. Make sure to show those things, okay? Number 4, CTA is call to action again, and scarcity, okay? Now, scarcity wise, make sure you actually honor it because people know, hey, how is Satish gonna run out of softwares? People are not dumb, right? So make sure you actually follow through. So next morning, you raise the price up. Now, you raise the price up. You do it. So next time when they're on the webinar, if they don't buy, it's gonna be higher tomorrow, okay? So make sure to do that. Now, last, you have to give people, again, I think I repeated again, guarantees. Hey, if it's not useful, if once you go through it, and you got 30 days to try it out, if you don't like it, bring it back. Just send an email and say, hey, I don't want it, Satish. I didn't see a value in it. Full refund. And you want to do that because, if somebody can't find a value from your product, let them, because, if you're selling a certain, it depends, right? Sometimes you might not be able to give a refund, but offer some sort of guarantee. Does that make sense? So let's do that, okay? Now, that's the close. A lot of people ended right there. Now, here's what I do. It's called the after party, okay? After party. Now, once you're done, you're gonna say, hey guys, I'm turning off the recording, because people are like, oh, this guy's recording the webinar, right? I'm turning off the recording, guys. You're gonna say that loud and clear. You're gonna turn off the recording. Okay, now, after that, you're gonna be like, ah, man, that was a long webinar. So here's what you did, okay? Here's the trick. So what you did was, you started as a human being at the beginning, PE. You did your presentation with human touch. At the end, you're like, hey, the recording is off, guys. Hey, man, long webinar. Let me get some drink water. Did you guys enjoy the webinar? Type 777. So I tell people to do something, right? So I tell people, hey, type 777 if you love the webinar. Type 777 if you can hear me loud. Make sure to do that at the beginning as well, on the pre-webinar session as well. So do that. And on the after party, here's the thing. So guys, if you love the webinar, type 77 if you liked it. Type 777. Guys, here's the deal. The recording is off, so I wanted to give you guys something special since you guys are with me till the end. So I'm gonna drop the price by 5%. If you're still live. Now, if you already bought it, not a problem. I'll go ahead and give you this. So what you do is you offer something extra that you didn't promise, okay? Now, pricing wise, it's a hassle to go back and refund that 5%. So you can do that too. If it's a higher amount, like 5K, I'm okay with going back and refunding 5%. That's okay. This after party is still a pitch, but you have said, oh, I'm not recording anymore, you're back to a human being. So they think, oh, so you're gonna announce the recording is gonna be off right now, guys. So, and you're gonna say, hey, man, that was a long webinar, my throat is dry, let me get some drink, I'm gonna get some whiskey tonight. Say something to bring you to that level. Then you're gonna say, guys, so just off the table, off the record offer. So if you guys have already bought it, I'm gonna be sending you this one more thing on your email. Watch out for it. And other people who haven't bought, they go, what are you sending, right? Then you're gonna say, so I'm sending this extra stuff. It has to be extra, right? I'm sending this extra stuff to people who are buying today live. If you buy it tomorrow, you can. If you buy it next week, you can. But if you buy it today, right now, I'm sending those people this extra stuff. Maybe show it around. Does that make sense? So Afterparty is still a great way to get extra sales. So Afterparty brings you like 10% of extra sales. Do it, use it, right? And this is also a good time to answer questions and just talk back and forth. So yeah, so I think we are good. So make sure to follow it, download it, get it, and just go. So if once you watch this video, this thing is gonna make much more sense. Okay, maybe I should have said at the beginning to ask you guys to download it ahead of time. Maybe download it, and then go back with this video. And I think once you watch this, once you're done, almost done, this is gonna make much more sense. When you go through it, it'll be claim PE till the end, blah 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 blah. So what I did is I printed it like this. On the back, it's the checklist, right? Boom, boom, boom. And on the front, it's just the actual formula. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends, family who might be interested, and make sure to also follow me on Instagram. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to comment below if you have any questions about what I explained to you guys. If there's any confusions, I will make sure to answer those as soon as possible. Thank you so much, and till next time.